Hello, everybody, and welcome once again to Sports Talk 920. I am your host, Michael Goodman. No Rudy again this week, so we're going to the Spreaker things again. Kind of like how this is going. Still trying to work things out as far as how are we going to get Rudy on here in a situation of as far as how to get on here, but again, still something we're working on here right now. So bear with us. But no Rudy this week. But hopefully next week we'll get him on at some time. But again, you're listening to Sports Talk 920. Again, can't really call into the show, but I believe we have a chat room option here on the show, and you're welcome to interact with us there. And I'll try to get back to you the best I can. Hey, the impossible happened. I didn't think it was going to happen, but it did. The Cleveland Cavaliers come back from down 3-1, come back and win the NBA Finals, and your Cleveland Cavaliers break that 56-year streak of not winning a championship. Good for them. I know a lot of people were happy. Rudy was not being a LeBron fan. He was pretty upset. Talking to him the other day, he was hoping I went to Cleveland and celebrated the quote-unquote gay basketball player in LeBron James, but I guess that's neither here or there. But again, something that when Rudy and I talked last, a couple weeks ago, I didn't think that the Cavaliers had what it took to really come back and win the series here. I thought it was just going to be one of those things where we're talking how maybe it's more exciting than I guess I don't know if it's the rigged part of it, as far as people were wondering if they were just trying to drag this out into a 7-game series to make it look more interesting than maybe what really was. Or hell, I mean, maybe, I don't know how big the conspiracy theory goes, but maybe people think that, they wanted Cleveland to win and that 56-year drought and getting that championship. I mean, hell, that could be a very strong possibility too, I guess. I mean, the NBA getting, with Donaghy, a few years ago, or about 10 years ago now, getting in trouble with gambling, that really put a damper on the NBA as far as what people would think of the sport, as far as if it's on the up and up, if they're cheating or not. So I can understand where the NBA does get a little bit of flack for that. With that being said, too, congratulations again, LeBron James, going back to Cleveland. I really think, again, LeBron James just gets the brunt end of it. I mean, Rudy would be a fine example if he was on the show this week. His hatred for LeBron James, I think really speaks volumes on how almost unfair it is how LeBron James gets treated. Again, a guy who carried this team, turned this team around from being one of the worst teams in the NBA. And granted, they did put some talent around him, with Kyrie Irving and guys like that. But really, a guy who went to seven of the last 8 finals. I believe that was the stat. Going into it. And really a guy that really has done nothing wrong off the court. There's the flopping, and so the flopping would be one thing that I don't know, that injury in Game 7 when he landed on his wrist. It looked really bad when it first happened, but I don't know if he was playing it up for dramatics there towards the end. I think he's a little bit of flair of the dramatics. And really, I think a guy that that Rudy loves, Brett Favre, I think a lot of these things can almost coexist with one another. Maybe he doesn't like them because they're so similar in nature. Where I think they live for the dramatics, but really, on the court can be, well, I'd say LeBron is maybe the difference is LeBron I think is unselfish a lot on the court, probably a little bit more selfish off. Brett Favre I think was selfish all the way around, but that's a whole nother topic, I guess. But anyway, like I always said, LeBron James to me was kind of a d-bag, I guess, off the court. As far as, I don't know, trying to think he's this cool guy, but I guess he's maybe more of an awkward soul than I think he might have wanted to portray himself to be. But anyway, I think a guy that on the court, no matter what he does, now that he's won the finals in Cleveland, kind of got that out of the way, winning his I think it's his third finals, and I don't know what it is. If it's I was a big Michael Jordan fan, and I'm not going to say that by any means that he's as good as Michael Jordan or better. I know some people that absolutely want to bring that up, that he is better, that he isn't better. It's one of those things you got to enjoy, the greatness while you can. I think a lot of us do this. We want to find ways to knock somebody off their pedestal while they're playing, and I was talking with a buddy about that before Game 7 too, and he said he never compared himself to Michael Jordan, and I go, no, I don't think he's done that, but I'm not saying he's innocent in that aspect either, as far as calling yourself King James, tattooing the chosen one on yourself, and maybe being the number 23. Maybe it was a kind of a tribute to Michael Jordan, but if you kind of want to, if you think you are that good, I think you can go with your own number and kind of build your legacy off of your own, and not use Michael Jordan's number that I think would be quite a bit polarizing. But anyway, I hope you guys can hear me here. I hope this microphone's working. But anyway, I'll check that out. Whew. Anyway, I don't know. I really don't know if this mic's working. I don't want to. I'm living in one of those things where I've done a show where I'd muted the entire time, but reduce echo, so that's good. But anyway, now I got it probably pretty loud. I'm probably pretty pingy. I don't know what that means, but anyway, so I guess there's that regard with as far as how LeBron James gets treated, and is that fair? Is that not fair? I don't really think it is, but I guess I understand a little bit to a point why people compare himself to Michael Jordan. I think a little bit of that kind of douchiness off the court kind of brings that upon himself. But I want to go to one thing too, that really in these 7 games, Stephen Curry really played bad in about 5 of them. Maybe even 6. And I think that's something that if that were anybody else, it would be something that or if it was LeBron James, I should say, I think he'd get a lot more heat for that than I think LeBron James would get just slaughtered. He would get just bombarded with people hating him for not being good enough and stuff like that. But Steve Curry gets this pass because he's the good guy, and it will happen. And maybe there'll be a point when Steph Curry gets to that point where he gets criticized for every little thing that he does. But right now, I think he's getting quite a big pass there. So we'll see. We'll see what happens from there. Anyway, I do have a NASCAR league that's going on now. Again, I've been racing these kids in NASCAR league. I don't know if I brought this up last week, but it's been pretty interesting. Kids talk a lot, and it gets pretty wild. So I'm gonna actually go try to race this while I do the show, and they're probably gonna want to talk to me, but I'll try to finish the show here before that happens. But anyway, we'll get that going, get that done. And I'll be kind of multitasking here as well. But again, congratulations to LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers for winning the NBA Finals. Something that I think again that we should kind of just take if you're ready to hate on LeBron for any reason because of what happened, because he won the finals. If you have angst towards him, just I guess give him a break a little bit and just enjoy what's happened. And hell, I know a lot of people weren't a fan of either team going into it, but I guess I'm happy that LeBron James was the one that came out the winner. But anyway, I guess I'll leave that be there. As far as anything else goes in the world of sports, again, NASCAR had a week off. Sam Hornish Jr. Gets the win at Iowa, and Sam Hornish Jr. gets the win at Iowa, running the 18 car. It was his first race that he raced in the car. I believe he might be making a few more starts with that team, and really, I was watching part of the race, and I think one of the big things people were freaking out about was that he was he hasn't raced since he was in the number 9 car in back in November. That it was something that was a great accomplishment that he could go from not being in a car since last November at Homestead in the Sprint Cup Series and then come out and just dominate the field at Iowa. And I think in my mind, I think it proves more than anything that the 18 car, that Joe Gibbs Racing team, is just that far and above better than everyone else. Not even just the 18 team, just Gibbs in general. They're that much ahead of the game as far as the Xfinity Series goes. The Cup Series, they are pretty dominant too, but I don't know if they're that quite as dominant. I mean, I think if you put anyone in their cars, Danica Patrick, Morgan Shepherd probably would get a top 10 at 75 years old. I think he could end up getting a top 10 in their cars, but really, I think the big thing here, again, it's just anyone can win those races. I mean, the Gibbs cars, I think they got a 1-2-3 finish with Eric Jones and Daniel Suarez. And I was talking to Goody Sr. the other day and really kind of wondering, how good is Daniel Suarez really? Is he really that good? It took him a year and a half to get a win in Joe Gibbs equipment. I'm not saying he's a bad driver by any means. I don't want to go out there and say that. I think that might be a little bit unfair, but it also kind of maybe makes you think that once. And I think I said this about Eric Jones a few weeks ago, was that or not Eric Jones, or a year ago. I wouldn't say a week ago. Sorry, but I think he's a guy that I'm sorry, I'll be racing here, so I might do a lot of ums. I'm racing in the online league here, but anyway, he's a guy. I think once he came up to the Cup Series, and I think he ran well. I don't think he ran terribly, but he's a guy that that might struggle a little bit more than the Cup. I mean, people are going to be like, well, he's the greatest thing since sliced bread.